Just get Jerry Jeudy out of here. It's not just the poor play. His attitude sucks.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you guys have seen the video. Obviously I can't hear them, but like it looks like he's kind of barking at Shedeur and they're going over, and then Shedeur comes out post game and he talks about how like it's about trust and they got to get on the same page, which obviously that'll come with more practice and more games played. But like, bro, this is a guy who's playing with only a couple weeks of practice. He's a rookie in his second start. Why don't you try to pick him up? Why don't you encourage him? Like, Justin Jefferson was picking, JJ McCarthy's awful. And you don't hear like Justin Jefferson talking on him. Like he's trying to pick him up. Like we got to play. And then there's just Jerry Jeudy. And Justin Jefferson, by the way, is good at football. Jerry Jeudy is bad at football. So like if you're going to maybe have a good attitude, if you're going to lead the league in drops 2 years in a row and just essentially never be open or do anything of any good on the football field for us this year, at least have a good positive attitude. Don't just get him out of here. I'm done.
So what is going on in the football world right now? You might want to sit down for this one because Jerry Jeudy just got a masterclass in what happens when you decide to pick a fight with the absolute wrong person at the entirely wrong moment. And let me tell you, the look of instantaneous regret that flashed across his face tells you every single thing you need to know about the absolute calamity unfolding in Cleveland. In that moment, Jerry Jeudy genuinely thought he could intimidate a rookie quarterback, that he could bully him into backing down and just taking the disrespect when he stormed into Shedeur Sanders' face on the sideline. But instead of getting the reaction he wanted, he received a live tutorial in how to maintain composure, how to be a true leader, and how to possess mental fortitude, a lesson that frankly made Jeudy look incredibly foolish. This entire disastrous interaction doesn't just shine a spotlight on Jerry Jeudy's personal inadequacies as both a teammate and a professional athlete, but it also pulls back the curtain on the deep-seated systemic problems that are plaguing the Cleveland Browns organization from the very top all the way to the bottom. Let's break down exactly what happened, because when you dig into the details, it becomes crystal clear that this was so much more than just a typical sideline quarrel between teammates.
And one of the biggest things that has to happen is he's got to develop some kind of trust and chemistry with Jerry Jeudy. We saw that they had the sideline confrontation, but these two guys have to get on the same page. They've got to get it together with each other. And I think what they need to do is spend extra time together this week. I think they need to just let go what happened the other day. We all know that stuff happens in the name of football. That stuff happens on football sidelines all the time, not always captured on camera. But those two guys need to get together this week. They need to text each other back and forth like Amari and Joe Flacco used to be doing all day long. Maybe they should watch some film together. I think that would be helpful. I think they need to talk and communicate. Jerry needs to talk about where he likes the ball placed. Shedeur has such elite accuracy and good ball placement that if Jerry asks for something, Shedeur can deliver that. So I think these guys just need to be very vocal about what they want and need from each other and try to make it work better going forward.
So picture this, Jerry Jeudy, with all the intensity and swagger of someone who believes they run the show, marches directly up to Shedeur Sanders. This is a man who clearly thought he could bully a rookie to talk down to his quarterback simply because he's a veteran holding a massive $52 million contract. He came at Shedeur with a confrontational attitude, raw anger, and body language that screamed, "I'm about to put you in your place, kid." And what did Shedeur do in response? Absolutely nothing. He was as calm as a frozen lake. He didn't move an inch. He showed no fear. He didn't display even a hint of the anxiety or self-doubt that Jeudy was so obviously trying to provoke. And that right there, that was the exact moment you could see it all over Jeudy's face. The instant he realized his mistake and the second he deeply regretted his decision. You see, Shedeur Sanders isn't some terrified rookie who's gonna crumble when a receiver throws a tantrum. Shedeur is a young man who has been forged in the fires of pressure, relentless criticism, and high-stakes adversity for his entire life. He is the son of the legendary Deion Sanders, which means he grew up under a spotlight so intense it would have completely crushed most people. He quarterbacked at both Jackson State and Colorado, where he was subjected to a level of scrutiny that most college players can't even fathom. He has had to navigate national media firestorms, withstand a barrage of insults on social media, and face down doubters who questioned everything from his arm strength to his leadership capabilities. Jerry Jeudy trying to intimidate him with some sideline trash talk. Let's be real, Shedeur has already stared down far worse. Jeudy just didn't get it, and he was completely unprepared for the reality of who he was confronting. Because while Jeudy was throwing a fit, Shedeur Sanders had been shouldering the immense weight of an entire season. He's been operating within an offensive system that is fundamentally broken and dealing with play calling that is painfully conservative. He's been battling behind an offensive line that struggles to keep him protected. He's been throwing to a receiving core where his supposed number one target, Jerry Jeudy, drops passes and fumbles the ball at the most critical moments imaginable. And on top of all that, he's been skillfully fielding questions from a media contingent that is perpetually trying to bait him into saying something that could stir up controversy. Through all of that chaos, Shedeur has remained poised, professional, a steadfast leader, and laser-focused on improvement. So when Jerry Jeudy stepped up to start something, he wasn't facing some overwhelmed rookie, he was facing a battle-hardened contender who had weathered storms far more severe than a disgruntled receiver's outburst. The most brilliant part of Shedeur's response was that he didn't have to raise his voice, he didn't have to get physical, he didn't need to match Jeudy's aggressive energy. He just stood his ground, radiating a quiet confidence that only comes from being secure in who you are and what you're capable of. And it's that unwavering self-assurance that made Jeudy look so utterly foolish, because all of his anger, all of his posturing, and all his attempts to rattle Shedeur just bounced right off. Now let's talk about the context that led to this explosion, because it's critical to understanding why this is so much more than a simple moment of anger. During the game, Shedeur threw a deep ball intended for Jerry Jeudy, a route designed for a big game-changing play, potentially a touchdown. The ball was perfectly placed, arching downfield exactly where it needed to be, and what did Jerry Jeudy do? He failed to finish his route. He never put his hands up. He made zero effort to high-point the foot. He appeared to give up on the play mid-stride, as if he were casually jogging through a practice drill instead of competing in a live NFL game. The film analysis confirmed what every single person watching saw with their own eyes. If Jeudy had just maintained his sprint, extended his arms, and made even a minimal effort to catch the ball, it could have easily been a touchdown, but he didn't. He quit on the route. And this wasn't some uncatchable pass thrown into the stands. This was a legitimate NFL throw where the receiver simply failed to do his job. But this is where things get truly fascinating. When asked about that specific play after the game, you know what Shedeur said. He took ownership. He talked about timing and chemistry, explaining that the team is still working to get on the same page and grow together. He refused to throw Jerry Jeudy under the bus, even when the tape clearly showed Jeudy quitting. That, my friends, is leadership. That is maturity. That's a quarterback protecting his teammate, even when that teammate is completely undeserving of it. But apparently Jerry Jeudy didn't appreciate Shedeur's class and grace. Instead of being grateful that his quarterback had his back, or maybe even admitting his own lack of effort, Jeudy decided to confront Shedeur on the sideline and create a public spectacle. The logic is completely backward. Shedeur protects Jeudy after the play. Shedeur publicly takes the blame even though it wasn't his fault, and Judy's response is to get in his face and start a conflict. That tells you everything you need to know about Jerry Jeudy's character and his priority. For the second consecutive week, Jeudy finds himself in hot water for his performance and his behavior. Just last week, he committed a costly blunder, catching a pass and then getting stripped from behind because he was completely unaware of his surroundings. People tried to be diplomatic about it, to give him the benefit of the doubt. But now it's happening again, and it's no longer an isolated incident. It's a pattern, and patterns don't lie. When you watch his tape, it's painfully obvious that Jerry Jeudy isn't fully committed. He isn't giving his maximum effort. He's not playing every down with the intensity required of a professional receiver. He jogs through his routes. He doesn't fight for contested catches. He gives up on plays the moment they deviate from the script. And the most infuriating part is his complete lack of accountability. When something goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault. The quarterback, the play calling, the timing. Anything but his own lack of effort, his poor route running, or his dropped passes. Shedeur Sanders, on the other hand, is doing everything by the book. He's reading defenses pre-snap. He's delivering accurate passes despite being under constant duress. He's masterfully navigating the pocket when his protection breaks down. He's taking responsibility at press conferences for mistakes that aren't even his. He's defending his coaches and teammates, even when they don't deserve it. He's effectively managing the entire offense while dealing with a receiving corps that struggles to catch the ball and a coaching staff that refuses to let him truly open up the playbook. The chasm between the commitment levels of these two players is as wide as the Grand Canyon. Shedeur shows up every day ready to work, to compete, and to improve. He's watching extra film. He's staying late to work on timing with his receivers. He is taking on the mantle of leadership. He is doing everything you would ever want from a franchise quarterback. And what is Jeudy doing? He's jogging through routes, dropping passes, and fumbling in crucial moments. And then he has the audacity to challenge his quarterback as if any of this is Shedeur's fault. We absolutely have to talk about Kevin Stefanski's role in all of this, because the head coach is profoundly failing Shedeur Sanders right now. Stefanski consistently calls hyper-aggressive plays at the worst possible times, putting his rookie quarterback in unwinnable situations and then acting surprised when they inevitably fail. He'll call for fourth down attempts from deep in his own territory, despite having an offensive line that has struggled all season. He calls for high-risk plays when he lacks the personnel or the game situation to support them. And when these gambles blow up, who has to face the musenots? Not Stefanski. Shedeur does. The post-game press conference was a masterclass in this dysfunction. A reporter asked Shedeur if he admired Kevin Stefanski's aggressive approach on those failed fourth down attempts. Let's be clear, that question is incredibly disrespectful. It's designed to corner a rookie quarterback into publicly criticizing his head coach. They were trying to bait Shedeur into creating a controversy, into pointing fingers, and into throwing his coach under the bus. And you know how Shedeur responded? He handled it perfect. He said, "First, that's a rude question to ask if I think it was a great call by my coach." He immediately identified the trap. He recognized that the media was trying to stir up drama and create division, and he shut it down with class and professionalism. He followed up by saying he loves to compete and that he will never sit there and blame his coaches or teammates. That is what a real leader does. It's a sign of someone who understands that maintaining locker room unity is far more important than winning a news cycle or protecting his own reputation. But here's the part that should make everyone furious. Why is the Cleveland media grilling Shedeur Sanders about coaching decisions instead of asking Kevin Stefanski why he keeps making them? Why are they forcing the rookie quarterback to defend or critique plays he didn't call? Why aren't they holding the head coach accountable for repeatedly putting his offense in terrible situations? This is the core dysfunction of the Browns organization and the local media. They heap all the pressure and blame onto Shedeur's shoulders while Stefanski seems to escape scrutiny. Stefanski continues to make baffling decisions, call plays that put Shedeur at risk, and allows receivers like Jeudy to quit on routes without any consequences. He continues to run a conservative offense that hamstrings Shedeur's talent. And when it all goes wrong, who takes the heat? Shedeur, not the coach who made the call, not the receiver who gave up, not the offensive line that failed to protect. The rookie quarterback who is doing everything in his power to make something out of a terrible situation. Just think about what Shedeur has to contend with week in and week out. He's got a head coach and an offensive coordinator who are hesitant to let him throw the ball downfield. He has receivers who are plagued by drops and give up on routes. His offensive line has been decimated by injuries and can't provide consistent protection. His run game is so predictable that defenses are stacking the box with impunity. And despite all of that, Shedeur is still out there fighting, still making plays when he can, and still displaying the poise and leadership that made him a first-round pick. The analyst who broke down that deep ball to Jeudy said it perfectly. If Jeudy simply puts his hands up and makes an attempt on the ball, it's likely a touchdown. The throw was there, the opportunity was there, but Jeudy failed to do his job. And the most damning part is that this is becoming his signature. This isn't a one-off mistake, it's a consistent pattern of low effort and zero accountability from a player who is getting paid $52 million to show up like he couldn't care less. What could Jeudy have possibly been arguing with Shedeur about on that sideline? What leg did he have to stand on? He can't be mad about the deep ball because the film proves he gave up. He can't be upset about a lack of targets when he's dropping the ones that come his way. He can't complain about the offense sputtering when he is a primary reason for its failure. So what was the real issue? The truth is, Jerry Jeudy is likely mad at himself. He's mad that he's underperforming. He's frustrated that he's not living up to that massive contract. But instead of looking in the mirror and taking ownership, he's lashing out at the one person who is completely undeserving of his wrath. That's why this confrontation backfired so spectacularly on Jeudy. He thought he could intimidate Shedeur. He thought he was going to teach the rookie a lesson. He thought he could deflect blame. But all he did was expose his own insecurity, his lack of accountability, and his inability to handle adversity. And Shedeur, without saying a word, won the battle. Just by standing there calm and unshaken, he exposed Jeudy for exactly what he is. That look of instant regret on Jerry Jeudy's face when he realized Shedeur wasn't going to flinch, when he realized his intimidation tactics had failed and that he had just made himself look terrible on national television, that will be one of the defining images of this Browns season. It perfectly encapsulates just how dysfunctional things are in Cleveland. You have a veteran receiver who is underperforming and trying to blame a rookie quarterback who is overperforming given the awful circumstance. It's a classic case of someone who is failing taking their frustration out on someone who is succeeding against all odds. And through it all, Shedeur Sanders just keeps being himself, calm, confident, poised, mature, accountable, and professional. He doesn't need to shout to prove he belongs. He doesn't need to retaliate when provoked. He just needs to keep being who he is. And that's really all you need to know, because the film doesn't lie, the numbers don't lie, and true leadership never lies. Shedeur Sanders is carrying almost the entire weight of the Cleveland Browns offense despite playing in a system that limits him with receivers who can't catch and coaches who won't protect him. Jerry Jeudy picked the wrong guy to test. He thought he was confronting a scared rookie who would fold under pressure. Instead, he ran into a young man who has been through the crucible of intense pressure, criticism, and scrutiny. A young man who remains calm while others lose their cool. A young man with the maturity to take the high road when it would be so easy to fight back. A young man who understands that real strength isn't about being loud or confrontational, it's about being true to yourself, no matter what chaos is unfolding around you. The question for Browns fans shouldn't be whether Shedeur Sanders can handle the pressure and the mess he's already proven that he can. The real question is whether the Browns organization will ever give him a fair shot. Are they going to surround him with receivers who actually want to win? Are they going to bring in coaches who will build a system around his strengths? Will they finally build an offensive line that can keep him upright? Are they going to hold veterans like Jerry Jeudy accountable when they quit on plays and create sideline drama? If the Browns don't start making some serious changes and supporting Shedeur Sanders the way he deserves, they are on track to waste one of the most promising young quarterbacks they've had in decades. And Jerry Jeudy needs to figure out quickly that his current act is not going to fly. For a player earning $52 million, the combination of drops, fumbles, lack of effort, and a bad attitude is completely unacceptable. And when you march over to your quarterback on the sideline to blame him for your own failings, you're putting yourself on the fast track to getting traded or cut. There is no question that Shedeur Sanders is just built differently, and this was one of those moments that proves it. Jerry Jeudy learned that lesson the hard way, and the look of pure regret on his face says he wishes he could take that entire confrontation back. And now, everyone in Cleveland knows who the real leader in that locker room is. And it isn't the highly paid veteran receiver. It's the rookie quarterback who is operating with no help and a world of class. So here's what I want to know from all of you. Do you think the Browns need to trade Jerry Jeudy before he completely poisons the team's chemistry? Should they start benching veterans for quitting on plays and causing these kinds of problems? And most importantly, how long will it take for the Browns to finally realize they need to build this entire offense around helping Shedeur Sanders succeed instead of actively holding him back? Drop all of your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is just getting started. If you believe Shedeur Sanders handled this situation with the perfect blend of strength and maturity, and if you agree that Jerry Jeudy exposed the deep-seated issues on this Browns team, then smash that like button right now. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update on this unfolding drama in Cleveland. And trust me when I tell you, this story is far from over. The Browns are at a critical juncture. The decisions they make next about how to support Shedeur and how to handle players like Jerry Jeudy will likely determine whether this team can finally break its decades-long curse or if it will remain stuck in the same cycle of dysfunction a generation.